maybe being fired up is great for this next topic because you know, we've got the FIBA World Cup, yeah, coming up in next month. Yeah, well, literally in a day's time, in August, right? In Southeast Asia, I think spread out across 3 countries, maybe, I think, Indonesia, Japan, and Philippines, I believe. And, you know, some country is going to win the FIBA World Cup. And a bit of the news, again, you know, the scarce news going on at the moment with the NBA players out there is what, Jokic is out. I think Jordan Clarkson is in. Kyle Anderson is going to become Chinese. And and yeah, look, you know, the USA team is going to field a B grade team, and I guess that's probably not new news. You know, that's probably something that's always been the case. But I guess the topic here is how come the representing your country component of basketball. So whether it's FIBA or Olympics, they're probably the 2 big ones, right? FIBA and Olympics to represent your country at that highest ultimate sporting level, okay, in basketball, because that's the sport you partake in, is superseded by your day job to be a basketball player. And it's probably similar to what we touched upon, but this is a different area where one would imagine that if I worked in an office or I had a corporate job or wherever I worked as a common man that I am, that if I could represent my country, well, I would, and I would do so proudly. And my work would become second to that. For that 2 weeks, I need to take off, you know, not to count all the countless, you know, training and sacrifice and work put in to get to that such point to have it be invited or to participate in that event. I would, in short, take that time off work. I would make it a priority to go. But why do NBA players not do that?
I feel like you keep setting me up along the same tangent, so I'll try to be sensible here.
Okay,
It's all about capitalism. It's all about capitalism, baby. It's all about capitalism. So I think simply it is not about the 30, 40, or 50 million that you're owed for future seasons. It's about the fact that if you go and play for your country and you hurt yourself to the point where you're unable to play for a full season, the amount of revenue is huge, right? So what we think about is, okay, let's say I'm just going to use general figures. Giannis is worth 30 million to the Bucks for this season, right?
Yep.
It's not about the 30 million. It's about the ticket sales for every single game that he's unable to play. If he hurts himself, that hurts that franchise. It's about the playoff implications and the lack of games that they get to play if they aren't able to get the seeding. It's about the lack of jersey sales because of the lack of exposure that he's getting. There is so much money attached to certain players for their franchise that for them to go and play for 2 weeks in their country is not financially viable for anybody. And the stakeholders influence that.
I'm going to cut you off right there, man. I'm not going to be rude, okay? Because I'm going to say right now that that's a load of rubbish. Because these players, if they didn't go play for their country over that 2-week period or so, what would many of them be doing? Working out, playing pickup games, you know, doing things on the basketball court, which at all aspects at any given time, you can injure yourself, just like Klay Thompson did in the off season, just like many other players have. Now, of course, this is different to say, I guess one that jumps into my mind, well, a while ago now, past history, was Jason Williams. Was it Jason J. Will? Yeah. All right, Jason Williams, where he also had a motorbike accident. And I believe it's a clause in your contract that you're not supposed to be riding motorbikes, yeah, because that is dangerous. Yeah, you play, maybe there's a clause in your contract you're not supposed to be going, I don't know, skydiving or swimming with the sharks. I don't know, maybe the risk is too high, yeah, okay? But these guys are playing basketball representing their country. That's what they do. So they would do that in that 2 weeks too if they didn't. It's their choice.
You're talking about more competitive fields. You're talking about time zone differences. You're talking about travel sometimes to locations that are a bit dangerous, right? So you remember the Rio de Janeiro Olympics where there were legitimate fears of safety and there was real apprehension for certain people to go because of the Zika virus, I believe, if I'm getting my history right. Like those are factors. Post the World Trade Centers, right, in 2001, that was an issue getting American players to fly international. There was a real fear on that front. So it's not well-founded right? And ultimately, yeah, these players are going to go play and everything's going to probably be fine. But, as an easy example, like Aaron Baines slipped in the shower at an Olympic Games. I don't know what the full context of that is. Like it was at
Hmm.
the Tokyo Olympics. He has not returned to the NBA since,
But he could have
right?
slipped
So,
in any shower.
of course he could have. But I think the thing is, there is a recognition. I am worth 100, 200, 400, 500 million to my franchise.
Don't take
And there are
showers.
people who are telling me, yeah, okay, yeah, just to smell. And then no one will
Just
defend you in
take
the post.
baths, no
So
showers. They're too risky.
I think it's just, I think that is a motivating factor. And then if we're not going to go on that front and we're going to go on the other things, is winning the FIBA World Cup that important to these players when you think about the pressure that they have from the general media or just general society? No one cares how many gold medals LeBron has. It's about NBA championships. So what is his motivation to go and play? We don't put a lot of stock in it, right? Carmelo Anthony, I think, is the most decorated US athlete in the basketball community. And yet we don't really put a lot of respect on his name because his NBA career never really panned out to the way that we expected it or wanted it to. So I don't know what your motivation is to go do that, right? For us common folk, because we're getting back into the common folk thing here, if I could go take 2 weeks off work to go represent, our country in Olympics, I'd be revered coming back to work and be like, oh my God, well done.
Which
You're
then
the
leads to
man.
this thought that just popped in my head because you've made such a claim on behalf of LeBron James is that
And the common folk.
is yeah, is that um what's more valuable, an NBA ring or an Olympic gold medal?
It's easy. It's an NBA ring.
Why?
Because I think in the basketball sphere, especially as an American, it is presumed that Americans are going to win. Whoever's on that roster, it's presumed that you're going to win.
But this is
So
not
it's
this
not
is
like
this is not
LeBron
this is not an
leads
American
people to
take.
a gold medal.
This take has got to do with however many countries that are in the FIBA World Cup and how many countries that do play basketball, hundreds of countries that play basketball. This is not an American take. This is a take that maybe Americans, and we're not American, but you're making some claims here that Americans would value the NBA ring more than a Olympic gold medal. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, but we're talking about every basketball player out there. I'm not saying a NBA ring is highly valuable. Absolutely, that's the pinnacle of a professional athlete. Okay, to play in the NBA and win an NBA ring, but to win the pinnacle of any sport, ultimately, okay, is to represent your country at the Olympic Games once every 4 years. Okay, and the FIBA World Cup is every second year, I think, is it? Okay, and that you win that gold medal for your country. That's my opinion.
It's all right. I think I don't know what you want me to say on behalf of these players. I just think that with their hundreds of millions of wealth, it's just not it doesn't have the same status. Carmelo Anthony is the most decorated US basketball player. I believe that's quite true in terms of points scored, in terms of the amount of medals that he has, and he's played extra things. I do not think the general public understands that fact. And if you ask the general public from his draft class who was the best player, he's what, third, fourth? Like he's not. It's how it's played out. It's just it just is what it is. I don't know. You have to play the best to be the best. It's like the Mbappe contract, right? He's going to go potentially play for like 700 million
Well,
in Dubai, and it's not even
you're
a very good
comparing
league.
Carmelo here to with LeBron, Wade, and Bosch, and all of them have multiple rings. So now you're basically saying if Carmelo had multiple rings plus, is it three gold medals? Okay,
I believe
that
it's 3 or 4. Like
okay.
it's the FIBA World Medals as well that he's got.
Okay, so Carmelo had at least one NBA ring plus these gold uh, medals. I think now you could definitely put an argument that he's two on that list, maybe behind LeBron.
The issue, I think, the issue for especially for the American team is that if you go and play on the American team, you're already probably an all-star caliber player to begin with, right? It's a stacked team. It is a legitimately stacked
Yeah,
team. You are supposed to win. It's not like Carmelo is the reason why America has more gold medals than the average thing. If Carmelo wasn't there, I think we could safely assume that someone else would have filled that void and done what he needed to do to get them a gold medal. It's not like Carmelo Anthony is the savior of America. They pretty much win all of the time.
This is Two Guys with Spare Time. I'm Faz, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist and giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.